All right, folks. I'm not going to stream that long tonight. We're going to keep it kind of short because it got started kind of late because my daughter just now went to sleep. That's always fun. And they're having new teeth and stuff. Their little brains are growing. So I'm going to see how long I can keep the stream streak going. So got some new hard drives installed today too. So I'm definitely feeling good about that. So I got lots of extra space. Got an extra SSD, so I have three SSDs running, and an extra 4 terabyte hard drive for internal stuff. I have another external 3 terabyte hard drive I'm going to back up a bunch of stuff on. I need to make sure I have it's hard for me to keep track of all the videos I have on YouTube. I have to download old streams. I don't know if I even want to save some of that stuff. There we go. Alright. We'll hop straight into it. I'm trying to remember where I'm supposed to go next, and I'm not sure. We have a lot of armor here. Let's see what we got. Silver cap. Alright, let's trade that with. There we go. You can't equip it, apparently. Odin can equip it. But we actually want silver. Can't equip either of those. Alright, well, good to know. Here we go. Good evening, good morning. Yeah, it's 12:30 or something where I'm at. So, anyway, let's roll with it. Uh-oh, monsters! Here we go. I'm going to adjust the video setting real quick. So you're not going to hear the sound for just a minute here while I get this a little bit adjusted better. There we go. There we go. Good morning, James. I think we gotta go. I'm trying to remember where we have to go. Down this way? No, that's where we just were. I think. That's where we were. I'm trying to remember where we go now. We'll find out. I think we can go to the castle next. The Castle of Trials or something. There's Elfland again. I think we need to go there. I think we go around here. We'll find out. You can also look at the original, what do you call it? Manual. Manual has like a bunch of this information in it, you know, which is pretty cool. Double crossed. Where to dock? Yeah, it tells you. Paddle up the creek. Cruise the waterways. Oh, we get a canoe at some point. Yeah. Crescent Lake. Okay, so we're supposed to go to... I thought that's where we're supposed to go. Over on this side. There's like a desert. Yeah, I think we get a canoe that lets you go through the whatever you want to call them. The rivers. What's the word for these? Rivers. Yeah, just as a reminder, anything that of mine that you actually want to keep, you should back up. Because the channel may disappear. I expected it actually to disappear in 2020. And then, you know, I still stuck around. Somehow. I think I just, like, wasn't making as much content in the summer. So there was less political content, too. So I just kind of, like, cruised under the radar. Dave Cullen got banned off YouTube. Need to set up, like, multi-stream. Like, use multi-stream IO, and then it's going to be on every other site, too. So people can watch on whatever site they want. Whoa! Magic. Let's use some magic. Lo and behold, here we still are. Yeah, a lot of people got banned off Twitter, though. Tons of people. Ali got banned. He's a conservative, I don't know what to call him. More poison. Of course, everything's poison. A conservative strategist? Fundraiser? I don't know. Organizer? Conservative organizer. We'll call him that. He got banned. Twitter stock took a dive. It lost $4 billion in value or something. Which, there's a certain, what's the word, like schadenfreude? You know, like you feel good about bad things happening to people. Is that schadenfreude, or is that something different? It's kind of late. Alright, there's the town. You gotta walk all the way through the forest here to get there. Oh. So let's rearrange our guys. There we go. I would delete my Twitter account, but I never had one. You know, I meant to make a post about this. The future's in the past. You know. Flip phone and a PS Vita. You could play so many freaking amazing games on this. Like an unbelievable amount of amazing games. Banhammer's falling heavy and often. Schadenfreude. Funny thing is that folks will still claim these companies do what they do for profit. Yeah, Twitter's never turned a profit. They have never once turned a profit. So this is one of these, I call this woke capital, which is that, you know, you think that economic rules are going to apply to these companies, and they don't, because they just keep getting influxes of cash. If more people buy the stock, and more other companies that have the cash buy the stock, And they just never run out of cash. So get woke, go broke doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen primarily because... How many houses do I have? Let's buy some pures. You know, it doesn't happen primarily because they just keep getting more options to buy stocks. The left is upset when people return back to Twitter after Parler was shut down. Yeah. I shouldn't have shut it down. Yeah, it's just capitalism, bro. It's mercantilism or corporatism. You know, it's people like, they're private companies. Then why are they doing exactly what the government wants at the behest of the government? And they're also protected by the government through the corporate system. The very nature of a corporation protects the people in the corporation from liability. Right? You have vicarious liability, but it goes both ways. So the company is liable for what the employees do, but the employees are also not liable for what they do as part of their job with the company. So the company basically gets a free pass to do whatever they want. And no person can be held accountable. And it's all done through our legal system. It's done through the government. So yeah, you can't call them private entities when they do, especially like what one specific part of the government really wants them to do. Also, when they, you know, it's kind of like, you know, driving on roads. It's like the person who owns the road bans you from the road. Problem is, there's only one road. You know, so the government doesn't usually ban people from the road. Silver shield, buckler, silver helmet. It's all good stuff. I don't know, do I have any silver armor? I might as well buy some. We'll buy one. Let's see here. Iden Paladin did a video about that recently. About what? Armor. Alright, silver helm, iron shield, iron armor. We're still running iron armor, huh? Have to sell some stuff. Sell the copper. I'm gonna buy silver armor. There. I'm gonna sell Bert's iron armor. Armor. Silver. Alright, so he's like pretty outfitted with like tanky stuff here. Silver. We could probably get some silver shields. Copper, iron. Silver armor, gloves. We sell the wooden stuff, I guess. That's how many startups, tech companies work. People cash out, of course. Yeah, what happens is you start up, you get like the IPO running, you collect all the cash, you divest your stocks, you sell out, and you leave. And then when the company goes down, you've already taken, you basically have taken the money of the people who originally bought the stock and kind of ran with it. But in this case, rather than that happening like a corporate raid, it just kind of goes on in perpetuity. Like it just doesn't end. What are we gonna buy? Silver shield. What does he have that he doesn't need this. Certainly doesn't need the wooden shield for 15 gold. 7 gold, woo! Alright. Silver armor is armor of the people. That's right. Actually, you can't equip that. Alright. Silver. Give him to that. Equip. Trade. Equip. Nope, you can't equip it. You can equip that. And we'll sell the other things, the iron things. It's kind of annoying to like try to manage inventory in this particular game. Because you have to go through a lot of extra steps just to get stuff working. Alright. I think there's not going to be really any weapons to get here. But we can check. Silver sword is still like the best thing you can get. You can get a silver axe, but it's not that much better, so I'm not going to bother. Tom from MySpace did that. Got copped after a few years and then got out before it took a dive. He's sleeping. Loot. Beautiful music fills the air. It didn't wake him up. Okay. We got to try out the loot. Some graves. This is a tomb. Yes, got that. Twitter probably has access to infinite deep state money, so they wouldn't care about their stock price. Yeah, they can just keep getting infinite loans, probably directly from the US government. Or so easily from a bank. You know, they have an in at a bank and a bank just values them higher. They're like, oh yeah, of course they have assets to take out a loan because they're Twitter. They're like Twitter, you know, and they just keep getting more loan money. Not sure where I go from here. Bought a bunch of stuff. Probably stay at the end. Let's check out the magic. There might be some magic we need. Who will learn the spell? Let's see what we got. Soft. This is one that, like, you kind of need. I got curious and looked at MySpace again last year. Does it still do anything? I don't know. Like, it devolved into, like, a music streaming thing, like, a while back. Like, basically SoundCloud. But, you know, it didn't do anything. Let's see what these do. Watch. Let's look at our thing here. It tells us some of these things. Yeah, it tells us where to get stuff. Oh yeah, we have to go around through here, and then there's like a little area here. Where's the different magic? So black magic. Whoop. Stop. Oh, it's like asking me to sign in, and it makes me quit my program. What's that about? Yeah, here we go. For some reason, my Adobe account got signed out of. Don't know why. Inconvenient. I miss like just owning software, you know? What is my password? Sorry. Always annoying. Oh, well, that's an easy one. There we go. This gets annoying. It's like I miss just owning software. But that's how it is, you know? Yeah, I'm up late. My daughter went down super late. I thought I'd play for a little while. Okay. So I have to look this up to figure out what these do. Black magic, white magic. All right. Where are we? Soft. Gets rid of stone, exit. Warps us from the dungeon, but does not work in battle. Okay, so this is a good one to have too. These are 60,000 gold though. Some of these don't work. I don't remember which ones. Yeah, some of these are important. And they get more and more expensive. They get so ridiculously expensive. So, one of these I should probably get, but I don't think I can, like, stand apart with 62. No, I still don't have enough. It's 620,000. Yeah, we don't have that kind of cash. These are probably the same. Yeah. 620,000. And we'll skip that. MySpace tried to look like Facebook. I mean, MySpace, almost everyone's like, yeah, I miss MySpace. It's like, what? Why'd you quit using it? Well, Facebook was better, and then Facebook got awful. It's like, Facebook used to be really fun. But then they made it so you couldn't find anybody's status updates or anything. Each element's power focuses at its altar. Locate and crush the fiend. Then, to make it shine, place the orb on the altar it's guarded. 4 fiends that are bent on the world's destruction. 200 years ago, the Fiend of Wind teamed with that of the water to destroy civilization. The Earth Fiend causes the rot of our land. A Fire Fiend will burn everything up. As you restore light to the orbs, we will reveal more secrets. Please see us repeatedly. Light Warriors, only you can make the orbs shine again. Quickly, before all is burnt, hurry to Gurgu Volcano and stop the Fiend of Fire. Great job vanquishing the Earth Fiend. Ooh, some cool music there. Now the Fire Fiend wakes. With this canoe, go to the volcano and defeat that fiend also. Now we can actually go to the castle first, I think. I am Liu Khan. Now all legends and prophecy will be fulfilled. Our path has been decided. The 12 sages, okay. Earth, wind, fire, and water. The world is bound by those 4 powers. Twitter was dying before Trump ran in 2015. He saved the platform. Without him, they're right back in the shitter. It's true. Like, and the crisis, the continual crisis has been from the beginning. How do we make money with this? Everyone's on it. I guess we run ads, right? But somehow they can't make money with ads. You know, they tried to integrate the ads into, like, their... How should I put this? You know, they tried to put the ads in on their... like, status updates. Or, you know, like, you'd see a tweet, a promoted tweet, I guess, is what I'm looking for here. And... people just started blocking companies, and then it turned out that they will unblock you from companies that advertise, so your block won't even work. So people would like spam block Nike and stuff like that because they didn't want to see the Nike ads, and then you get unblocked from Nike so they could show you more Nike ads, but you'd never click. Like, no one would ever click. So it's like, how did Facebook make all this money on advertising? And so you had a little more room to like actually show someone an ad rather than a tweet. They should have had ads be marked something separately from a tweet. Like, it should have been, ads can just take up a bunch of space, and then the ads would probably work because they would just be better in that sense. Much recording of the last stream of this game where game mechanics and other types of media was brought up. I found a web serial called Dungeon Crawler Carl that I thought does it well. Yeah, I'm not. Talk about like when you know, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? The answer is no, but you know, I'm not into bringing RPG mechanics just kind of into a story, because RPG mechanics are there to represent certain things that would happen in a story or in real life. So like, you know, your agility goes up, you get experience, means you get better at fighting. Well, you know, if you were reading like Lord of the Rings, you'd have a thing like, oh, Sam remembered how to do this better, right? You know, he gets stronger as you go, and it just happens. So it's weird to try to put that into a story. Like, that's just going to be the story. That's kind of weird to me. Andrew Cuomo is now saying states have to open up. Yeah, they've gone back and forth. Remember when I was warning everybody last year, they're like masks don't do anything. No one should wear masks. And then later it's like, how dare you walk around without a mask, even though you already had it and you can't get anyone sick. These fish. I think lightning is good against them. I'm gonna call it in a few minutes, I think. Just because, yeah, I mean, you can like Trump or you can hate him, but like the dude definitely created a lot of discussion on Twitter.com. He was like a master tweeter. He was like the master of the tweet game. Like every tweet he came out with, everybody would pay attention to it. And I can't go on the ocean with this thing. I'm trying to remember where the trying to remember where the volcano is. Book's half comedy, half action. It probably has more to do with New York's massive multi-billion-dollar deficit. I mean, California has a multi-billion-dollar deficit and it's home of big tech, right? It's like all the values in California, and it's like, yeah, but their government can't pay any bills. You know, somehow the richest state can't pay its bills. It's because, like, spending is out of control here at the state level. They have no idea what they're doing. They have a full-time legislature that all they do is spend money and they don't even know where it goes. We spent, like, $100 billion on a train to nowhere. You know, there's this train. Like, we're going to make this bullet train. And it was pretty much the worst idea ever in the history of California. Like, who needs a bullet train? I don't know. They have them in Japan, so shouldn't we have one? Why? We don't have the population density of Japan. Well, there's a lot of people in California. California's still 95% uninhabited. Let's get rid of that scorpion first. Prediction: the lockdowns and COVID restrictions will continue to the point where people will forget why they exist in the first place. I think you'll have some variation of that. I mean, the only thing that would stop that is, like, at some point the government would have to concede that, like, they just have to let economic activity continue because they just don't have any money. Like, they can't print any more money. At least at the state level. Like, most of the lockdown problems have been a state issue. They've not been federal. So, you know, the state of California cannot inflate its way out of a debt. The U.S. government can just print more money and inflate its way out of any debt. You can't do that at the state level. So you kind of have to pay your bills somehow. Although I think the people in California are more insane than in New York. So I could see them trying to continue it longer. But I can tell you right now, at the local level, there's a huge amount of just not obeying orders that makes the state government very upset. Where it's like the local police won't arrest people who attend mass. You know, the local police won't shut down the gym. The local police won't shut down the hair salon. The local police refuse to do what we tell them. And like, well, they're talking about trying to take funding away from police departments. They're all locally funded too. I thought there was something here. I guess not. Newt doesn't do anything. Alright, so that little desert area didn't really do anything. Whoa, a centipede! It's just called peed. It's called pede. Pedo. Yes, the train to nowhere, aka the brown doggle. Yeah. It's like, we're gonna build this train that doesn't go from San Francisco to LA. It's like, it's real simple. If I was gonna build a high-speed train between my metropolitan areas, I'd go San Francisco, I go Sacramento, San Francisco, Fresno, LA, San Diego. They're like, no, we're gonna have it like go around Fresno. We're gonna have it go to go through Merced, where no one lives, and stop in Tulare. That's the most spread out town in existence. A Hydra. Cool. I'll cut off the head, you burn the stump. And then it's like, every month it's like, now we're out of money again. We're out of money again. It's like, where's this money going? Nobody knows. Nobody knows where it's going. They paid artists to come up with concepts for like what the, raised tiers of the train would look like. And they paid them, like $100,000 to do that. Like, what were they thinking? Two Hydras. Couldn't even finish over budget. Yeah. Weren't they also going to build a train from LA to Barstow? I remember something like that. Like you can drive to Barstow. It's like, well, maybe someone wants to take the train to Barstow. You can take a Greyhound. There's no one commuting from Barstow to LA or back again. Like, it's not like a bunch of people going between like Kyoto and Osaka and freaking Tokyo, right? Like, those three cities are the three biggest cities in Japan and like the biggest in the world. So of course they can have bullet trains going between them. Like, oh, Europe has this. Europe is not the United States. It doesn't have the population density. Let's throw a couple $100 million at it. Let's see what happens. It's like, what a terrible idea. Every step of the way, everyone was telling Jerry Brown and everybody else what a terrible idea it was, and they just didn't listen. No one listened. Then there's a sunk cost, right? It's like, we can't stop now. We've already spent $100 million. Or like, we've already spent $8 billion on it. It's like, I gotta look how much the California train actually costs. I'm sure the Chronicle has something about it. Oh, 1.3 billion. Estimated cost to complete California's high-speed rail line rose another $1.3 billion to $80.3 billion, while construction is on schedule to meet a 2022 deadline to have about 20% of the track laid, according to a new business plan released Wednesday. This was supposed to be done like 7 years ago. And they've done 20% of it, and it's cost $80 billion, right? So it's going to cost $400 billion to finish this thing? Composed, you know, my gosh, I can't believe it. It's like, what were they thinking? It's going to cost another billion, another 100 billion. It's like, it, you know, 5 years ago, it's like, it's going to cost up to 100 billion. It's like, no, we're at 80 billion. It's costing 80 billion so far. And it's probably going to cost 300 billion to finish. Like, holy crap. 100 billion. $1 million. I totally don't know where I'm supposed to go next. I should look it up. I think it tells us. Kind of get you started. Oh, there's where the volcano is. I went. It's the opposite direction. There's the desert. Oh, we have to get the floater before the desert matters. Okay. Find the floater. I think it's telling us to go to the volcano first. You can actually go to, there's a castle. You can actually go to like the castle first. I think too. But I don't know. We'll do the volcano. But I think first I'm going to stop at town and like get more stuff and save the game because I think I'm out of time to play. Thanks for all the videos and books you put out. You're welcome. Gotta buy more of these pures. Voices of the Void and Eyes in the Walls are great. Starting Water of Awakening ASAP. Should have book 3 in Water of Awakening series coming out this year. Most of it's already written. I stopped in the middle of writing it, which I almost never do, to write a different book. Then I decided not to come out with that book because of all of the drama surrounding the election. No one was buying any books. I'm like, it's pointless for me to come out with a book right now because no one's buying anything. So I didn't come out with it. So I got like I have like multiple books in the bag that I haven't put out. I just have to figure out how to put them out. Got to get them edited and put out this year. Alright. How much does this inn cost? Yeah, you should just buy 99 pures. I think you gotta, I think in total in the, yeah, I should, but it's just, it takes so long to buy them. Yeah, I'm gonna buy more pures because, I mean, you're just gonna use them all the way through the game. You're right. This is probably one of the things that I think they fixed in the later versions is like decide how much you want to buy. So you could just buy a ridiculous amount of these. Like you should buy like 99 of these. You can just kind of hold down the turbo button to buy heals. You know. But you actually have to like key in pures. I like 50 of these. 99. See, this is like oversight of the century. It's like designing the game where you need this many of these, and you have to click through and buy each one separately. It's like imagine you had to sell each arrow separately in like Oblivion or Skyrim. I gotta buy each arrow separately and sell each arrow separately. Oh my gosh. It'd be awful. But actually, you can raise your mercantile skill in Oblivion by selling each arrow separately. It's one of the best ways to do it. There's a mod that will let you spam click your arrows so that they always sell separately. So you can raise your mercantile skill, but it's dumb. It's like shift click over and over again. Oops, I bought a heal. see how many of these I bought. Feature, extend your playtime. That's what people, that's why people are like, oh, it's 100 hours of, it's a 100-hour game. I'm like, 100 hours of fun game or 100 hours of not fun game? Because it could be 100 hours of mediocre gameplay is not a game I want to play. 100 hours of like punching yourself in the face is not fun. It's like, well, it's a 100-hour value. Or if it's just boring, which is probably just as bad. Because you could argue Dark Souls is like punching yourself in the face, but that's in a fun way. What's really funny is by the time they get the train operational, there's going to be a ridiculous maintenance cost to it too that they didn't even think of. That's going to skyrocket out of control as like the tracks fall down because the engineers they hired that, didn't do a good job in some place, and so it's going to cost another 100 billion to maintain it. And people are kind of left scratching their head. They're like, how does other places not have this problem? And we do. And it's like a million little things that you just can't quantify. It's like you hired, how does this engineer build roads that don't fall down and our engineers build ones that do? And it's like, well, you hired your engineers for reasons other than their skill, maybe, right? Like you hired them because of nepotism instead of their quality, or you hired them because they met some kind of racial criteria instead of them being of high quality, and then things don't work. Like California has this at a systemic level where people like everything is a diversity hire. People believe in affirmative action in the university system. So even though affirmative action is illegal here, it is in practice thoroughly enforced in the universities. So if you have 3 people going up and the least qualified person is a woman, if they feel like they need more women, they'll just hire the women. Same thing with any other thing. Like they're really, because I worked in the university system. That's just, you get that without any law requiring it. It's police forces that want to really hire people on merit. It's not really academics. I'm 96 pures, guys. I have probably enough. Say 96 is close enough. I also just started Persona 5 and it's fun, but the beginning was boring as hell. The beginning of every Persona game I feel like is really just very slow. They don't really dump you into the story very quickly. Persona 4 is like that. Persona 4 is really good, but you gotta at least play 1 or 2 hours into it before you really get to the gameplay. The issue I have with Persona 5 is way too much filler dialogue, like all the text message stuff. I skipped that crap. Yeah, that's something that I think is probably worth thinking about too. What time is it? Yeah, I probably need to log off. I think my rant for the night is the future's in the past. Let me finish the rant. We will save. All right. So let me get a camera solo here. Okay, so here's my rant. Future's in the past. And that means like I could totally see, instead of having this thing, that it's a really useful tool, but it's only as useful as the things which you can access with it. And if you get banned from everything, like if I get banned off everything, there's not a big reason to have a smartphone because I'm not posting anything. It's like, I guess I could run apps, but a flip phone and like a Vita. I think I've said this before. It's like go back to a stupid phone, get a stupid phone and like your 3DS or your PlayStation Vita, and put that in your pocket instead of a smartphone, which is already very bulky. And that might be the future of entertainment. It's like going back to 2005 era stuff of like I carry around a handheld game console to play on the train, and then I have my flip phone to call people. So I think I think that's something that more people are going to adopt as like they want to check out of the, I don't know, check out of the social media landscape. My wife actually deleted her Facebook this last year, which was huge because she used to post a ton of stuff on Facebook and used it a lot. And in fact, I would say, you know, Facebook helped me and her reconnect. We had been college friends before we dated. So like Facebook was to me a really good tool. I had like nothing really against Facebook when we met. Not when we met, but you know, when we got together. Yeah, people are too addicted to their phone. It's frightening, and probably me too. Like I'm not an exception to that. If I feel like something's hot's going on, like I want to be on Twitter, or if I feel like, you know, I have an idle moment, I like flip it open and like maybe respond to YouTube comments or something. And that's not, you know, I want to be more present with my kids and stuff too. So I found I do better if I set aside time. Like, okay, I've got 15 minutes here to look at comments and really respond to them thoughtfully, rather than like I have a spare 30 seconds. Let me put things in my mind that aren't in the here and now. You know, I'm not the exception to this. So, you know, going back to like stupid phone plus, you know, a handheld game system. It's like, what are you doing to fill up your time? Well, I'm doing things that amuse me. Well, you could be doing things that amuse you at a higher quality level, right? Like the Vita is a really good system, and especially if you jailbreak it and set up Adrenaline and stuff, it'll run every PS1 game. So you can rip your PS1 discs and put it on your Vita, and it'll run and like see the reflections of like, oh man, look at all those fingerprints, like fingerprints all over it. It'll run every PSP game, and it'll run PlayStation Vita games, and that's actually a huge catalog. There were so many indie games that came out for the PlayStation Vita, and even though it's like quote a dead platform, you could have it in your pocket for years and not run out of software to play for it that's really high quality, including Persona 4. You know, Persona 4 Golden is one of the reasons that I got this originally, was like I wanted to play that game. It's kind of a system seller, even though you could play that on PS2. But you could even play, if you wanted a Final Fantasy machine, this would probably be a PlayStation Vita. You can play with RetroArch on it. You can play the NES version of Final Fantasy, and you could play the SNES versions of 4 and 6 in English or Japanese, or you could play 1, 2, and 3 in Japanese if you know Japanese. You can play the PlayStation versions of 1, 2, 4, and 4, 5, and 6, I think. You could play the PSP versions of 1, 2, 4, and 6. You can play the PlayStation 1 versions of 7, 8, and 9. And you can play the HD version of 10, the HD remaster. There's an HD remaster version of Final Fantasy X for the PlayStation Vita. Not only is it for the PlayStation Vita, but it will actually like cloud cross-save with your PS4 and PS3 version if you wanted to. So it's actually very cool. So you could play the first 10 Final Fantasy games on this thing. You know. And if you want it, if you're like a Dragon Quest fan, then it'd be the 3DS. You could play every Dragon Quest game on a 3DS. That's a lot of games to play and like run through. And I just look at the software catalog for both of those systems. They're immense and they're high quality, and there's a ton of backward compatibility. So the 3DS will play every DS game. And I actually have a basically an EverDrive. It's called like an Ace 3DS that will let me put DS games onto a micro SD card and play it on a 3DS or a DS. So you can carry around in your pocket huge numbers of Nintendo DS games on your 3DS. There was I still think the DS is like the best-selling system of all time. There's a massive library of stuff for it, and some of it's really creative. You'd have a really hard time running out of creative, great software just carrying around a 3DS in your pocket versus a smartphone. And think about a smartphone, like all the mobile games are like cow-clicking microtransaction garbage games versus real games that have a beginning, middle, end, have fun gameplay, and are fun for the sake of being fun. You know, I was sitting around playing my 3DS with my daughter. Was staying up late one night, and she loved this little Cooking Mama game that you just like poked food with, and she thought this was like the most fun thing she had ever seen. She's like 2, so but it was like the most fun thing she'd ever seen in her life. I was like, this is a game that people really liked, and there's no game that's just like this on your phone. It's just a novelty kind of game, but that creativity is not there with the mobile market anymore. It was there when the iPhone originally came out with like Labyrinth games and all kinds of games like that, including Pokemon Go. Like, hold up your phone and there's a Pokemon on your couch. It's like, whoa, this is so cool. But not really anymore. Now it's mostly cow clicker stuff. 95% of mobile games are straight trash. And in fact, the mobile games I recommend are just ports of good games. It's like the Final Fantasy IX Android version is really good. It's just Final Fantasy IX, which is a really good game. You know, there's a port of Knights of the Old Republic. It's Knights of the Old Republic. It's a really good game, right? It's probably the best Star Wars game ever made. So you're just playing a good game from the past. Like, that's really cool. Yeah, gacha games. There's certain gacha games I think you can play them if you really know how to game the system. But most people don't know how to game the system, and then you're really playing the gacha system, not really playing the game. I kind of like everything to be there in the game, and then it's up to you to get it. And it was super refreshing to go back and play. I think I went back and played Final Fantasy 12 last year, and it was like, oh man, there's no DLC, there's no microtransactions, there's no gacha stuff. I bought the game, and you just have the game, and you could play the entire game. It's like, including optional content, you know, and really a ton of content, just massive amount of content. Even if you bought the game at $60, the amount of fun content in Final Fantasy 12 is just overwhelming. It's great. What a great game. I felt that way with Dragon Quest XI. Was like, I haven't had that much fun just playing a game in a long time, where it's like the game is just, there's not a lot of extra crap that they put in it. It's just the game. It was great. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, I think the future's in the past, and I think more people after this year and kind of the craziness are going to be taking a step back from social media. I think normies use social media differently, and I think the problem with Twitter is that it's not a lot of normies, not a lot of normal people. I think normal people are stepping away from Facebook because they get overwhelmed with the negativity that gets pushed in their face. I know more and more normal people like deleting their Facebook. So yeah, I go back to flip phone and a PS Vita. So Dragon Quest XI is the best. No DLC, no gacha, and you get 80 plus hours with side quests. Yeah. It was just super refreshing to have that, and I couldn't believe that there were games like that. And Final Fantasy 15 unfortunately has a lot of DLC. But up to that point, you didn't have that. And I'd love more games to be like that, and occasionally you do get them. Occasionally you do get games that just don't have any DLC or any kind of microtransaction stuff. But the games of yore did. And so what's kind of cool, what I was thinking about this is like, man, I could put a bunch of my PS1 games on here. They're full games. They're great games. The gameplay on them is still great. Maybe the graphics aren't as good, but the gameplay is still really good. And when you're looking at a little screen, you don't need as high a fidelity graphics as if you're looking at like a big TV or something. So it's a lot better that way. Anyway, so if you have a PlayStation Vita and you haven't jailbroken it and put Adrenaline and everything on it and got it really set up and put RetroArch on it to play all of your old games, you should definitely do that, because for me, and because this is a thing where like when you pull it off, you know, you're right back to where you were. That's really cool. In fact, actually, I'm going to see if I can show something to you guys real quick. Here, let me show you this for the next, once we finish Final Fantasy 1. Which hopefully I need to go to bed, so hopefully we'll finish it like at the end of the week. Hear that? That's my Vita connecting. Where is it? Sometimes you got to do this. I figured this out. Back and forth. There it is. Okay. Here we go, guys. And this is Adrenaline. This is basically a PSP front end that does all your stuff. Go over to memory stick, and these are the PSP games I have on here now. You know, Final Fantasy Tactics, Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles. You can hear the music. God of War. You know, so we just cue that up. And, you know, got it right here. Here we go, guys. This is rad. Yeah, Vita and PS1 games. I haven't put all my PS1 games on it. You do have to do one extra step to put PlayStation 1 games on it. It doesn't read just bin and queue stuff. You have to convert it to the PSP's format. But there's maybe I'll do a video on just some easy ways to just like where to click to get all that stuff, like the hacks.vita website and all that kind of stuff, so that all this stuff everybody can have this a little bit more up front. You know, so now I can stream Vita stuff. This is rad. You know, I could do it all off the Vita instead of having to do it on a RetroArch or something else like that. And actually, what I can do here is I can full screen projection. I'll project it to the middle. Let's do it to the middle. Because OBS lets you project, I'm going to project it to the middle monitor. And then it's like, for RPGs, there's a little lag. You know, there's a little lag. I wonder what the difference between Japanese kana and Japanese... I think Japanese kana doesn't have any of the kanji. Here we go. And this is also cool too. So you hold down this and go to settings. And you can actually do a couple different graphics filters, like... Advanced AA looks really good on polygon stuff, but really bad on this. So this one's like sharp LCD 3X, or you can also do sharp bilinear, and then just close out of that. And it looks like it has a great retro look to it on the big screen here and on the Vita, so it looks really good. Kana doesn't have kanji. Okay, thank you. It's for students of the language, I'm guessing. I think, well, from what I've gathered from talking to some Japanese people, it's really hard to know all the kanji, even if you're in Japan, because there's some really obscure ones. But I'm guessing for games they probably just wouldn't use as many obscure ones anyway, or maybe it's for kids, because kids are going to know the kana more than they're going to know all the kanji right away. Like, they'll know a lot of the basic kanji, but probably not the more obscure ones. So maybe it's for like kids versus people who know all the kanji. Yeah, I bet it's kids. Can you do save states? Yeah, you can. So I don't know if you can do them on the PSP ones. States. So yeah, check it. There we go, save state. And then we can load it up. I think I tried to load one. And it doesn't exist. Please wait. Oh, there it goes, yeah. So yeah, you can totally save states with this. That's rad. Yeah, that's totally rad. You can also get a lot of this stuff. So once you have this all set up, it's just like, it makes playing the PSP games so much better, and the PS1 games as well. Much easier. So yeah, this is Final Fantasy II. Alright, so I'm going to call it there for tonight. You can listen to some Final Fantasy II music while I peace out of here. I do appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow probably. Yeah, before I go, actually, I will give you Let me see if I can find it. I'll just give you a link to a channel that has guides for all of this stuff that I think is a really good channel. Let me see if I can find him. He's got a lot of stuff for like hacking the Vita, jailbreaking your PS3 if you wanted to do that, which might be worth it at this point, or your PS4 if that might be worth doing too. I haven't really ever thought about jailbreaking a PS4, just because. Where am I gonna find this? So yeah, give me a second. I'll link the channel. I think it's a great resource. He's got a lot of this info. A lot of it's really up to date. Oh, Blaine Locklear. Yeah, so this guy's channel, he doesn't really have any subs, but his content is super clear for this. It's like really good for this. Oh, you can also check this out. This is rad. Not only can you do this, let's see, settings. So down here, use DualShock 3, DualShock 4 controller. So you can hook up your PS3 or PS4 controller. So you could basically turn this into a Switch. You know, you could just put it in your dock and play it. I haven't tried hooking up to my TV, so maybe I'll see if I could figure out some way to just hook it up to the TV as if it's that. Now there's a little bit of lag because I'm going through OBS. So if you could find a way to display it without the lag, then that would be obviously preferable. But for an RPG, the lag is not, or a JRPG like this, the lag's not that big a deal. So yeah, you can hook up I don't have one here, but you imagine this is one. And you can just sit here and play it on your TV, all your PS1, PSP games. It's pretty cool. And then unplug it and take it with you. How rad is that? Oh, thank you for the super chat, Nathan. What do you think about Mark of the Beast? I work with a lot of his kids who say that they will take it. I thought those old movies were BS. Guess not. Oh, a lot of high school kids. Oh. It depends. You know, it depends on how. I don't have time to get into the Book of Revelation or what it should mean, or what different people think it means. I think for the Mark of the Beast basically means that you have to submit to satanic authority in order to have access to the economy. And there's not... That could be something, depending on your view of Revelation, that is ongoing or something that is specifically for end times. And I'm not going to get into the debate there, but it's definitely something that I worry about, you know, that in order to get the Mark of the Beast, you have to bow down and worship Satan. So what does that mean? Does that mean, denying that everybody who doesn't deny that God exists can't get a bank account at some point? Or, like, what is it going to be? People are too much focused on the mark and not the idea that you have to do something to gain access to the economy. So the mark could occur with anything, right? It could just be not a physical mark, but if you get depersoned from the internet for saying something bad, then that's like you losing the Mark of the Beast. That's kind of my thoughts on it. I talked with Rocking Mr. E about this, and he's way more apocalyptic about it, I think, than I am. But it's just something that I think about from time to time. Yeah, the Book of Revelation, there's so many different views of it. I mean, I think there was debate of whether we put it in, whether you don't even put it in, don't include it, whether you include it in some, like, deuterocanonical context or not. It's a really mysterious book. Same thing with, like, the Book of Enoch, which isn't included in the Bible, but I think the New Testament exists in an Enochian world where people were reading the Book of Enoch, and it's referenced in the New Testament. It's very weird to think about. So there's so much there. I can't really get into all of it, but I don't want to take a vaccine because I don't need to. I already had coronavirus, so I already have immunity. I have the best kind of immunity because I actually had the disease, and I shouldn't have to take a vaccine and have any possible risk from that. There's no reason for that, But people are very afraid of this virus for some reason. They think it's really special. I think it's something more like Spanish flu, personally. Fine, Maria. Let's hold this down. What is that wonderful... There we go. That looks right. That looks good. But wait, where's Leon? The Apocrypha books are creepy. I think I had it too. Yeah, there's... the Book of Enoch is the big one. And there's some people who've done some content on YouTube on it that's really thoughtful. I kind of want to dig more into it because there's so much there. There's a bunch of stuff with, like, angels and... the Nephilim, all the stuff that's just kind of mentioned offhand in Genesis, that's where the details are, is in the Book of Enoch. But at various times they decided that is not a book that should be part of the official canon of the Bible. It doesn't mean that you don't study it. It means, or it's never studied, or it's suppressed or something, but it's not canonical. And then there's debate about the deuterocanonical books, which are books which were included in... which you are still included in the Catholic Bible, but were taken out in the Reformation. So a lot of us who grew up as Protestants, have never read Maccabees or Sirach or some of those books, which kind of add to that more mysterious worldview of things. I don't think the vaccine is the mark of the beast. Yeah, I don't think that that's what it is. I think it's just attached. I think any kind of real mark of the beast will just be something attached to you, like your identity. People thought that a driver's license would be the mark of the beast 100 years ago, right? And think about it. It's really hard to do stuff without a driver's license. Credit card. Like, everything's attached to our person. We don't really have an ability to be anonymous anymore. We require all of these things attached to us in order to gain services from the economy. So maybe we're already there. I don't know. Thanks, Genki. Yeah. I would recommend Dr. Michael Heiser. Yeah. He has a lot of cool stuff in this. I think you mentioned that before. The spiritual worldview of the Hebrews, and he's not a loon. Vaccine may not be the mark of the beast, but I'm still not taking an MRA retrovirus. There's a bit of a whine hiss coming through the audio. Is it just OBS, or is it coming from the Vita itself? You know what? I think it's coming from the Vita. So let me check a setting. Sometimes you have to turn off USB power, and it'll get rid of that hiss that's going on. So I think it's coming from the PlayStation Vita. But if you turn off the get power from the USB, it gets rid of some of that interference. So. It's very hard to get away with a crime. Yeah. I don't think we're there because even though we are part of the economy, we're not worshiping Lucifer, and it can't be the mark. Yeah, it's more like you have to do something actively in order to gain access, is what I'm thinking it is. Not just a passive situation. Like, now you can be removed from the economy for doing something active, but it'll be a point where it's like you have to swear this or you can't have a banking account. That's when you're entering, to me, like Mark of the Beast territory. So anyway, but I gotta get to sleep, guys. I gotta get going. I just thought I'd show you this really cool setup with the Vita. And I linked that guy's channel, I think, Blaine's channel. He doesn't really have a lot of subs, but he has a ton of great content, so you can check him out. He's just got a lot of content on consoles and stuff, and how to jailbreak your consoles and get more, basically unlock their hidden potential. Because with Adrenaline on your PS Vita, you really can play your old PlayStation games in really high quality, and you can play your PSP games at a higher quality than you normally would. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks guys, and I'll probably see you guys next time. I'll let the outro be the Final Fantasy II music. So have a great one, and I'll see you tomorrow.